Imagine this. You're sitting on a gold mine, but you don't even know it. Your home could be worth far more than you think, and that untapped potential could be the key to unlocking a wealth-building strategy that changes everything. But here's the kicker. Most people don't fully understand how to leverage that hidden value, and it's costing them dearly. Hi, I'm Todd Polke, a wealth strategist and investment coach who has helped hundreds of people build multi-million-dollar investment portfolios and create true financial freedom. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most powerful tools in property investing, equity. It's the hidden asset that many people overlook or are too afraid to use. You've probably heard the term before, but when it comes to equity, there are a lot of questions and even more fears. Can I afford to borrow against my home? What happens if the market drops? Is it really worth it? I get it. It's easy to get caught up in the what is, but once you understand how equity works and how to use it the right way, you'll see that it's not about taking risks, it's about making strategic moves that work for you. Before we get into those fears, let's clarify what equity actually is. Simply put, equity is the difference between what your property is worth and how much you owe on your mortgage. For example, if your home is valued at $500,000 and you still owe $300,000, then your equity is $200,000. But here's the thing, your equity is not a cash asset that you can instantly access. The banks will usually lend you up to 80 to 90% of your property's value. So if we're talking about 80% loan to value ratio, for example, if your house is worth $500,000 and the bank might lend you up to $400,000, that's 80% compared to the value. And that's where it gets interesting, because once you understand how equity works, you can use it to invest in more properties, build your wealth, and create long-term financial freedom. Of course, when it comes to leveraging equity, fear is a major roadblock. I've met countless people who are simply too afraid to take that first step. It can feel confusing, overwhelming, and I totally get it. The good news is, once you gain a clear understanding of how equity works, most of those fears will disappear. So let's take a moment to dig into what's really holding you back. If you've got a specific concern or question, drop it in the comments below and I'll try and get back to you. But right now, I'm going to dive into some of the most common fears and questions I hear from clients time and time again. Question 1, what if I can't afford the repayments? This is the big one. The fear of taking on too much debt. And I get it. Debt can feel like a heavy burden, especially if you're borrowing more money against your home. But here's the key. It's not just about borrowing, it's about having a solid strategy in place. You don't want to take out equity just for the sake of it. You need to plan how to generate returns that will help you at a bare minimum cover those repayments. For example, if you were to borrow that $100,000 of equity against your home to buy an investment property, you should make sure that the rent that you receive from the property will cover the majority of the repayments. Fear number 2, what if I use too much equity and can't pay it back? This is a valid concern, especially when you're just starting out. The thing to remember here is to never over leverage yourself. You should never take out more equity than you can comfortably service based on your income and your future plans. That's why it's essential to work with a financial expert to help you assess how much equity you can safely access. A well-structured investment strategy will ensure you're not overextending yourself. And remember, the goal to build wealth, not take unnecessary risks. If you're going to be borrowing equity from your property to start growing an investment portfolio, part of your strategy has to be how you're going to pay that back in the future. And so you need to start installing elements right now in your portfolio that's going to serve the purpose later on to rapidly eliminate that debt. Remember, debt is not about the amount of debt you have. That's not where the risk lies. What it's all about is your capacity to pay it back. And this is where a strategic pathway and strategy really comes into play. Big fear number 3, can I really afford to borrow against my home? This question often comes up when people are unsure about their financial stability. It's a great question, but the answer is depends on your situation. Borrowing against your own home should only be done if you have a clear plan to create returns, whether through rental income, capital gains, or business profits. If you've been consistently building up your income and savings and you have a clear path forward, borrowing against your equity is just a tool to help you take the next step in your wealth building journey. You know, to me, when I think about growing a portfolio, I never have a problem with negatively geared property as an example. I never have a problem with an asset costing me money out of my back pocket. What I do have a problem with, however, is a portfolio costing me money out of my back pocket. This is why when I think about building a portfolio, it's never just about the individual deal. It's about how every deal fits into an overall portfolio system. What if property values drop? Will I be left with the debt? Now, this is one of the most common fears, especially when markets are volatile. Sure, properties can go up and go down, but if you're in it for the long term, the market will likely go through cycles. Real estate tends to appreciate over time, so while there may be short-term fluctuations, if you hold on to your property, the value should increase over the years. The key here is to make sure you are buying in areas with solid growth potential and not taking more risk than necessary. Remember, equity isn't about immediate returns, it's about leveraging your assets to create long-term wealth. Fear number 5, how do I even get started? The first step is to understand your current equity position. How much is your home worth? How much do you owe? From there, you can start to assess how much equity you can access and what investment opportunities might be a good fit. This is where working with an expert comes into play. A property strategist or financial advisor can help you navigate through the process, analyze your options, and ensure you're making decisions that are aligned with your long-term goals. So, now that we've addressed some of your biggest fears and questions around equity, let me leave you with this. Using your equity isn't about taking on unnecessary debt or playing it too risky. It's about making smart decisions, being strategic, and using resources you already have to build more wealth. So now that we've addressed some of your biggest fears and questions around equity, let me leave you with this. Using your equity isn't about taking on unnecessary debt or playing it too risky. It's about making smart decisions, being strategic, and using the resources you already have to build more wealth. If you're truly serious about building financial freedom, this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to access more content like this. And if you're ready to take the next step, come over to Instagram, send me a DM, drop 100K in the comments, and we're going to send you an exclusive free training video where I'll reveal insider strategies on how to grow your wealth and achieve lasting financial independence. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.